Hello and welcome back. In this part, we're going to be looking into the circulatory system. So the circulatory system is the blood transportation system of the body. Blood is a connective fluid tissue consisting of a number of different cell types. Blood is used to supply the body's tissue with oxygen, hydration, and nutrients, and helps to remove carbon dioxide, toxins, and waste products. The heart is the mechanism that helps the blood circulating with each beat around the body. There are four chambers in the heart. So you got the atria, left atrium and right atrium. The two on the top, the atria, are the vessels that fill the body and the lungs with blood. Ventricles, left ventricle and right ventricle. There are two chambers at the bottom. The ventricles push the blood to the body and lungs from the heart. A thick muscle wall called the septum runs in the heart from top to bottom, separating the right and left sides. So we got a rough diagram of how these circulatory system works. Yeah, you got it there. You could easily get this diagram. Google images again, the circulatory system, the human body detailed. So under high pressure, arteries carry blood from the heart. They have thick walls under higher pressure to carry oxygenated blood and sit deep inside the body. Arteries supply the capillaries with oxygen-rich blood, which in turn supplies the waste-rich blood to the veins. Veins bring blood to the heart. The atria fills this blood with blood and dumps it into the ventricles. Then the ventricles contract, pumping blood from the heart. The atria refills with blood while the ventricles are squeezing and get ready for the next contraction. Inside the heart, there are four valves. Okay, these valves ensure that blood flows in the right direction. In the right direction, they open to let the blood move forward and then close to keep the blood from flowing backwards immediately. Veins have thin walls near the surface and at a low pressure carry deoxygenated blood. Capillaries are vessels that provide oxygen, hydration, and nutrition to the cells and tissues. Their single cell structure facilitates the passage of dissolved matter from and to the tissue. So the main functions of the blood. Now, because in fire cupping we are dealing with blood here, it is important that you learn about how the circulatory system works. So if we are dealing with blood, we are trying to get rid of all the toxic matters and waste materials and all the pathogens that are building up through people's lifestyle. They could be smoking, they could be, taking drugs, for example, or what sort of things they do. I mean, everyone's free to do what they want to do, but we are basically as therapists, you need to ensure that you could give your clients another chance to recover and stuff. So provides oxygen to the body's organs and tissues, removes from the body carbon dioxide, maintains metabolism of the body, supplies energy to the body. So these are the main functions of the blood. Now imagine if you got a client whose blood is not functioning properly due to poor diet and all the other extra things that they might be intaking, smoking, alcohol, drugs, and they're just sitting at home all day. But that's what most people do. Like, they will sit at home, they're not actually being active, or they're just too occupied with their busy lifestyle. So the majority of the people is pretty much like that, because we know we went through seeing a lot of clients. I would say about 60 to 70% of people are like that, but 30% are the people who are actually doing it. They're working out, they're basically keeping a good diet and stuff. But that's not the end of the world. You still got things like fire cupping, which will help to relax them, get rid of the toxins. You could definitely put this therapy forward to those kind of people, and then do an after advice saying that you guys need to really start doing things, being active, eating healthy, and just doing your best, basically. So that's that. Now, next thing, we're going to be looking into the skin. Okay, so the skin, obviously we are dealing with a large organ when we're doing fire cupping, so the skin definitely plays a big role. Now, obviously it's a good idea to learn about the skin, learn about how it functions. So it basically provides life-sustaining food to the body. Okay, removes toxins and waste products, Transportation of hormones around the body to regulate process of the body, preserves the body's immune system and defenses. Actually, that what it sorry, my mistake. Main functions of the blood. Sorry, I'm actually looking at the main functions of the blood here. I'm actually going to move on to the skin now. So those are not part of the that was the functions of the blood. Okay, so the skin is a 2-layer protective cover for the body. The outer part is called the epidermis and the inner part is called the dermis. Okay, so the main function of the skin, so it provides sensation, heat, absorption, protection, elimination, storage. So these are the main functions of the skin. The skin's sensory nerves endings can detect a variety of stimuli and warm the dangerous body. Touch, pressure, pain, heat, and cold can be detected. So, you have to tell your clients heat is an important element when it comes to doing fire cupping, because you're applying heat. So you want to make sure that you do not burn the client's skin. And the way you're going to do that is you're going to basically put the fire onto when you're using medical alcohol or spirit, to actually ignite the fire onto the wool. And then once you have done that, you will then put it around the rim of the cup. So when you do that, you could just kind of test it on your hand, for example, and see if it's too warm. If it's too warm or too hot, then I would say just wait 1 or 2 seconds before it cools down and then apply it. In that way, you are ensuring that you do not burn the client's skin as part of health and safety. So in many ways, the skin can help the body regulate temperature. The blood vessels near the surface contract closest to keep the warm blood closer to the inner organs to maintain the temperature when it is cold and the body loses heat. The erector pili muscle contracts to raise each hair and thus trap warm air next to the skin surface if heat needs to be kept close to the body. In the dermis and epidermis, adipose fatty tissue isolates the body from heat loss. If the body is too warm, near the surface of the skin opens to allow heat to escape. Heat can be released from the body through sweat evaporation, and that also cools the surface of the skin. Absorption. The epidermis can absorb oxygen, carbon dioxide, fat-soluble vitamins, and small amounts of water. It can also absorb ultraviolet radiation and convert into vitamin D various chemicals. Okay, so you got a diagram here of the skin. All right, learn the words, learn the different terminology. Epidermis, you got the dermis, you got the subcutaneous tissue, hair bulb. These are all connected. So imagine when you're doing fire cupping, you got arteries and veins connected to the hair follicles, and you just want to make sure that you do not put too much of a hot cup on there, because it will react those nerves endings that is there. So always do your testing before you apply it. So that's the good thing about learning about the science behind fire cupping. The protection. The skin has antibacterial sweat and sebum film known as the acid mantle that helps prevent the skin's surface from multiplying bacteria and microorganisms. The skin's subcutaneous layer contains fat cells and helps protect the body and cushions it. Melanin, produced in the basal cell layer, helps to protect the body from ultraviolet radiation. So, we all have different melanin levels, which is pretty much what gives us our tone, our skin structure. It gives us the dark, light, brown, white, black. The melanin level is protects the body from ultraviolet radiation. So in some parts of the world, I guess do according to geography, the reason that we have different structure of the skin, a different tone of the skin, is to do with the different layer amount of melanin we have, and it is a mechanism that is used to basically protect ourselves against ultraviolet rays. So elimination, the skin's glands eccrine glands produce sweat, okay, so which helps to eliminate waste such as urea, uric acid, ammonia, and lactic acid through the sudden action. So elimination. So this is what happens when you're running, jogging, sweating. You're sweating, and you're kind of like getting rid of all the stuff, all the bad stuff. So that is how the skin will eliminate it, through that. Fat storage. So fat and waters are stored in the skin. The subcutaneous layer holds about 15% of all body's fluid. Okay, so these are some of the components of the skin. The skin consists of 3 separate layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutaneous layer. Okay, so the epidermis is the upper or outer layer and is a translucent, blood-free, attached to the dermis. Okay, so you got the epidermis on the top, and then you have the it is attached to the dermis, the layer below, via a thin membrane, the basement membrane. Okay, the dermis is made up of blood vessels, nerves, hair roots, and glands of sweat. Under the dermis, called subcutaneous fat, there is a layer of fat that contains larger blood vessels and fat cells called adipose cells. Connective tissue secures to the underlying muscle and bone the entire structure of the skin. Alright, so that is how the skin is structured. Look into a diagram, type in how the skin is structured on YouTube, for example. You'll find a lot more information, or just simply follow our manual. The dermis is composed of hair. Okay, so this grows throughout the body, apart from the hands, palms, and the feet soles. Is made of keratin, which is a protein. Okay, it's not alive. It keeps us warm and helps the feeling of touch. Okay, so hair follicles. These follicles hold the hair is in place and provide the hair with nourishing blood via the dermal papilla inside the follicles. Erector pillae muscles. So these muscles, when stimulated by cold or fear, make the hair stand upright. Then you got the eccrine sweat glands. These are the more abundant of the 2 sweat gland types, and are located on the entire surface of the skin with a denser distribution in the palm and feet. They help to detoxify and help the body to cool down. Apocrine sweat glands are attached to the hair follicles and are located in the body's underarm and genital areas. The fatty substance they produce leads to a strong body odor. Sebaceous glands. These are glands produce a sebum-like oily substance. It is mildly antifungal and antibacterial. Then you got the touch corpuscles. Even the slightest touch sensation on the skin can be detected by these nerves. Then you got the lamellated corpuscles, nerves of pressure. These nerves detect pressure on the skin. So you have so many different functionalities of the skin. So the reason we're reading through this is just to give you an idea of all these things kind of play up with the skin. So you're dealing with the skin, so just make sure you are do your fire cupping in a safe way. Okay. Epidermis is made up of 5 layers. So you got the horny layer, the stratum corneum. These are distinctly shaped granulated cells that help to harden the cells through the keratinization process. This layer's cells are constantly being shed by friction. Then you got the clear layer, stratum lucidum, which is the scientific word. This layer provides the skin with waterproof protection. It is closely packed. Cells are almost transparent and filled with keratin. This layer thickly covers the feet sole as well as the palms of hands. Then you got the granular layer. This layer's cells are beginning to transform into the horny keratin material. The granular layer connects the living cells beneath them with the dead cells above them. Then you got the prickle cell layer. Cell in this layer ends as they attempt to push upwards. Sorry. The living cells in the layer can reproduce using the mitosis process. Okay, so you have the basal layer. This is the epidermis, deepest layer. It is where new cells develop, forcing the surface of older cells. It contains the melanin pigment that protects the skin from UVA injury. The melanin in this layer dictates the skin's coloration of an individual. So, yeah, I'm just going through this, and yeah, you got so much to actually learn about the different parts of the skin and how they function. Now, this all might sound very sort of like alien to you, all these terminologies, but it takes dedication. So you need to actually, I'm just breaking it down for you, but you have to put in granular layer, okay, and put it on YouTube, for example. What is granular layer? You would get like a live demonstration of it, and for everything else that I have just mentioned here. So I wish you all the best. Even though we're just giving you all the foundation, the pillars, there's more to learn. So there's learning never ends. You have to keep on going through these different terms and kind of like doing further research. So yeah, so in a nutshell, that is pretty much what the functionality of the skin is. And be just pay attention when you're doing fire cupping.